Howdy, y'all. So today, gonna rehash an older video that I've done on semen retention. Now, November is coming up pretty soon here, and we all know No Nut November is a thing. And I'm a large proponent speaking out for celibacy against this entire world that is basically lustful and it's lost. In my opinion, it's totally lost. People don't know how to date anymore. They don't know how to have relationships anymore. They've forgotten what it means to love one another, because with the advent of technology and porn at its current state, you also have things like OnlyFans, the Instagram, the TikToks, the constant influx of nudity and booty pictures, all this bullshit, right? It's all just stimulus. And with so much stimulus going into the brain, it releases dopamine. And one of the biggest fears that I have for this upcoming generation of parents is that none of these relationships will actually be able to last. And the reason for that is people are so accustomed to this attention economy where there's always somebody else involved. It's so easy to get access to you via the internet, via these pictures, via the Tinders, the Hinges, the Bumbles, that people have kind of forgotten what it means to just, have a one-on-one relationship, and everyone else is the other. Everyone else is outside of that. It's a true communion between the two, where they can actually share their experiences and their life together, and through that be fruitful and multiply. So, on my personal journey, I've been celibate at this point for 1.5 years, which means I haven't played downstairs in that amount of time, okay? And I was not always like this. I've had streaks before where it could have been, 6 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, but when I first started, it was just a success for me to go 7 days without busting. And so I want to get into sort of what you're going to experience in the first 30 days. And then I will tell you that after 30 days, well, actually 21 days to be exact, you'll experience a change in your mindset. That's when the habit forms, where it gets a lot easier. But days 1 through 7, what you can experience is an increase in energy. You're going to notice your testosterone, if you're a guy, sort of skyrocket a little bit. It goes way up, and then it will sort of fall after that 7 days and come back to around baseline, but typically it's going to be above normal. And I believe the evolutionary reason this happens is your body is so used to having sex that it thinks, right, because we're not very evolved, it thinks that every time you have sex you're doing exactly what your main purpose is for being here evolutionary wise, which is spreading your seed. So if you don't bust for a couple days, your body is going to be like, whoa, 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 what's happening? We need to increase the power of our person here, our soul here, to get access to these women. Because the brain doesn't know any difference between when you're jerking off yourself or if you're having sex with a woman. All right? It has no idea the difference between the two. They both feel the same. In a way, they both feel the same to the brain because you both experience the dopamine with release. But furthering that, the other benefits that you can experience are mental clarity and motivation. Because, just hear me out on this one, you've probably been spending a lot of time, like way too much time, focusing on sex. You probably think about it 10% of the day, 20% of the day, maybe even a quarter of the day. And for some people, it's like half their thoughts are sexual thoughts. They just can't get it out of their head. Anytime they get stressed out, they think, oh my God, like I should just go jerk off. That will make me feel better, because we've become accustomed to using porn and masturbation and all these other ways to experience sexual arousal as sort of scapegoats for anxiety. Anytime people get stressed out nowadays, that's how they release that stress, because it feels good. All right, so if you remove that option from your playbook, now you have to finally sit with that anxiety. You have to sit with that stress. And so that can bring you motivation if you transmute that sexual energy into a higher understanding. When I say transmute, all that means is taking a lower state of vibratory emotion or being, right? So if you're anxious about not having any sex, if you are feeling lustful and you don't actually give in to the urge, you have all this extra thought energy going into something that you're not expressing. So where does that have to go? Well, it's either expressed via masturbation, or it can come to understanding that you are going to use it towards a creative purpose to expel that energy out of your system. You need to integrate it and expel it somehow, some way, and if you can't do it via the usual ways you've been accustomed to doing, which is through the sex and masturbation, well, it's going to bring a whole new level of motivation into your life. You're going to start chasing your dreams. Okay, that thing that you've always been pushing off till tomorrow now looks really fucking tantalizing to do today because you don't have anything else to do. You're bored. So this motivation will also bring some sense of clarity on what you should be doing with your time. And what I'd recommend is finding a creative habit. Especially when you first start this, you're going to need some outlet for this extra amount of energy, because that's what it is. You aren't expelling the seminal fluid out of your body, so it's going to increase your creativity. It's going to increase your energy levels. It's going to increase your testosterone and your fucking masculine urge to just take over and conquer, but you're going to need something to conquer. So I'd highly recommend picking up a habit such as, the gym, that's one I use. Yoga, that's another one I use. Writing, I use that one as well. Journaling, you could be an artist, you could be a baker, you could be a singer, you could be a welder, you could do anything. It's just important that you find a creative outlet or habit, I guess you can call it in this sense, to now use this extra energy for. That's the important part. You have extra energy in your body, and the reason it's so hard for people to stick to celibacy is because they are brain rotting themselves by not having any creative habits. They only have destructive habits. That's what society has programmed into us. You go to your 9 to 5, which is not really creative, by the way. You're just doing somebody else's dreams and passions to get a paycheck. And then you go home, and then you just fill your time with food, which kind of like lulls you, makes you lethargic. You're like, oh my God, I'm lazy now. And then you want to watch your Netflix, you want to play video games, you want to do something that is mind-numbing. You scroll your phone for endless hours. You're not actually channeling all that extra energy, extra thought, all that bubbling up anxiety that you're now experiencing because you don't have an outlet for that energy. You're not channeling it into something productive. So find some productive habit that you can pick up, and it will make this process a hell of a lot easier. Now, days 8 through 14, I think this is when the magic starts to happen, and this is the make or break period for a lot of people. I know for me, it was usually the 2 weeks was the longest I would go because I experienced pressure. When I say pressure, I mean you're building up a load, a massive fucking load, and you have not let it go this long before. Unless you want to remember back to when you were a little kid before you realized what your dick did, and you were, producing it then, and then that's when you started the habit, because most people, that's what they do, okay? But once you hit 2 weeks or so into this, you're going to notice that your balls feel heavier. All right? You're going to be like, shit, bro, I have never felt this much pressure in my sack. It's uncomfortable. I need to get this stuff out of here. Oh my God. And so this period is beautiful because that is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to not only increase your willpower,
but also to start the process of sexual transmutation from days 1 through 7 into this habit even more. That all that extra energy, all that extra angst, that anxiety from days 1 through 7 kicks up into hyperdrive in days 8 through 14. All right, the next 7-day period. So during this period, you're going to experience some benefits, obviously. I mean, you're not going to be tired, that's for sure, but your anxiety levels as well will be much higher. At least that's from my anecdotal experience, what I noticed. I could run through a fucking wall, but at the same time, life started to feel a little meaningless, and you hit this almost flatline period where you're not seeing true benefits from retaining your semen, but you're experiencing massive downsides, especially in the brain, because you're taking a habit that you're so used to, programming you're so used to, and you're finally shucking it completely away. And so in this period, that's the beauty of it, building your willpower. Days 8 through 14, 8 through 15, whatever you want to call it, that second week, this is when you build your willpower. All right, so days 15 through 21. And at the end, the 21 portion, that's when this sort of solidifies. It gets much easier after that point as you formed a new habit. But what can you experience in this time frame? Well, for me personally, I started to notice integration. This is when your semen starts to reintroduce itself into your body. I don't know scientifically if this is when it actually happens, but for me, I noticed that the pressure started to decrease a lot downstairs. I started to feel better again instead of feeling worse and worse day after day. So during this 15 to 21, it's sort of like a reprieve from that sexual anxiety, and now you have stepped into that new creative habit that you have been forming. So I want you to take a step back here for a second and realize you had a habit of watching porn, lust, desires, whatever it may be, and usually it takes 21 days to form a new habit. Well, you're giving up this one, and now you're replacing it with your new habit. Whatever your creative habit is that we talked about prior, that you want to be forming, this is when it solidifies. So these 15 through 21 days are really important because you're going to have so much more clarity, so much more motivation towards what that is. Okay? And you're going to be driven to do it. You're going to fall into alignment a lot easier in these days. You're going to start integrating this new lifestyle in during these days. It's also sort of like a dark night of the soul if you hadn't gone through that through the 8 through 14 days, where you're going to be able to find your passion, your purpose a hell of a lot easier. Because you really don't have any other options for your time. I'd also recommend giving up certain things like watching Netflix. You can still watch like an hour a night, that's fine. But if instead of jerking off, you're just filling your time up with video games and mindless bullshit instead, you're not going to really make any super progress in your life. Okay? But if you remove a lot of the excess inlets of dopamine that you've allowed for so many years at this point, you're going to need to create something. You're going to need to push forward on something to receive dopamine. The path now becomes the way in this period of time. Now, the beautiful part of semen retention, if you get here, which I hope every single one of you gets here, is after day 22. When you've solidified this habit, you have a brand new power that comes into your frame. You are powerful. It's fully integrated in. You are a new person. You are not that old guy that used to, know all the porn stars' names and jerk off all the time, and you talk about sex stories with your buddies, and you wouldn't be able to have higher level conversations because your mind was stuck in the gutter 24/7. You've sort of elevated yourself above that state of being, and now you're sitting up in love. You have self-love for once in your life. Because if you're constantly wasting your seed just sleeping around or watching porn, that's not out of a state of self-love. You obviously don't really care about your future too much if you're constantly wasting it, okay? Because you aren't chasing your dreams. I know that from my experience. I was not chasing my dreams when I was constantly watching porn. I was using porn as an escape from reality. That's all it is. It's an escape from reality because you don't want to experience it. All right? So once you remove it and you say, no, this is my fucking reality. This is my new habit. I'm pushing forward on this. You step into a God tier level of fucking power. Your aggression skyrockets. Your ambition skyrockets. Your dedication and discipline skyrockets. You notice a whole new aura. And there are also some psychological benefits that you'll notice when it comes to conversations with other people. Now, you can experience some of these earlier on, but after 22 days, it starts to desexualize your brain. It deprograms some of that porn out of there, some of the sex out of there, and you'll notice that conversations with whatever the sex is that you used to watch the videos of or sleep with the most are better. You almost view them as humans for once instead of just pieces of meat. And how can you have sex with them the best? Or what would they look like if you were, boning them or doing something like that? Because that's where the brain goes. You look at a pretty girl and immediately you want to check out her tits or her ass because your brain is sexualized. When you desexualize your brain, you have a whole new aura to you. And I mentioned this before with confidence. Confidence is just your own self-confidence of who you are expressed out into reality. So a confident person to other people is somebody that is confident within of themselves. All right? So if you are sexually secure and you're not thinking sexual thoughts, people are going to view you in a better light because you're able to actually have an empathetic conversation with them. You're able to actually speak with people without your mind going to the negative places, the lower vibratory states. You're able to understand more. You're able to love more. You're able to experience happiness and joy with others more. Your laugh is deeper again. You finally have a little bit more kick in your step. All of these things come into being again. And then as you progress further and further, it only increases from here, guys. Your aura gets to the point where you're basically a walking God amongst everyone else. And I don't want to sound like an egotistical ass when I say that, but when you've been celibate for as long as I have, anywhere I go, people sort of turn their heads when I walk in just because I have an aura about me. You can almost smell the retention on me. My pheromones attract women left, right, and center, but I don't give out my attention, and that sets me apart from other people. You begin to be sought after. Even Eric, who's coming back on Friday, he's mentioned this before in business meetings. When he used to be in his lustful days, he was lower energy and probably wasn't as attractive in a meeting. But the longer you go on this semen retention journey, you start to notice that your aura attracts business opportunities for you. People want to work with you because you actually validate them as a human being instead of just validating them sexually, if that makes sense. So this is a wonderful period, and you'll also start to notice some bodily healing. Your skin, your hair, your nails, your eyes, your teeth, everything. I'm not kidding. Everything improves. Absolutely everything in your fucking body gets better as you start to reintegrate this semen that you've built up over this time into your cells. You start to refresh yourself. You look younger. You look vibrant. You are attractive because you are fertile and people want what you have. People always want that which has value. If now you are putting value on your semen and you're not wasting it, you just became infinitely more valuable to the opposite sex that you are trying to attract, or the same sex, whatever it is. You guys know what I mean. So that's days 1 through 28, 30, whatever you want to call it. And that's when the benefits really start to skyrocket in your favor. After that point, it's sort of like a, how am I going to do this with my hands? So days 1 through 7, it's slow, 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 and then it kind of kicks up. And then afterwards, it's just a steady incline. It gets better and better, but the incline doesn't go completely like this. It's not hyperbolic like GameStop when that thing took off years ago. It's not like that. It will be steady and it will be upwards, but it's not going to be like 10% better every single day. But it will be 1% better every single day. You will notice that your clarity increases every day. Willpower, strength, power, muscle gain, aura, everything. Everything will start to increase every single fucking day. It's steady gains from there on out. And if you're a bodybuilder or a person that wants to change the way their body looks, yeah, this will absolutely transform the way you look. All right? So it's very important that we get a creative habit to sort of use this energy so it allows us to survive those first 28 days. Because the pressure, guys, is immense and you will want to bust. Trust me on that. It will come for you, and especially days 1 through 3. If you're first starting off, that's the hardest right there. It's definitely day 3 for me. I know that anytime I've tried to quit any bad habit that I've had in my entire life, the withdrawals hit on day 3 the hardest. And then after that, yes, it still is a little bit painful, but I'm still moving forward. All right? It's not fucking terrible anymore. Day 3 is for sure the worst. So if you can survive day 3, you can survive to day 300. It's not that hard. All right? It's just willpower. And I want you guys to sit in gratitude every day to make this easier, and sit in gratitude of how amazing you are for just doing this, for even embarking on this journey, for even trying to conquer your sexual desires. Because a lot of people go through their life throughout history and they've never conquered their sexual desires. They are always stuck in lust. They are always stuck in lack. They always look at the opposite sex and just want to know, hey, can I sleep with them? What can I get out of them? Hey, I just like looking at them. Women are fucking eye candy for me. Most people won't even get to the point where they realize that that is negative for themselves, for their future. So just embarking on this, be grateful for the journey. And when you're grateful for the journey, it makes it a hell of a lot easier. Enjoy it as you go. Enjoy the struggle. The obstacle is the fucking way. You grow the most when you suffer the most. All right? So I believe in you guys. You can absolutely do this. And I'm going to finish this one off with guys that already have girlfriends, wives, significant others, whatever it may be. All right? You can have sex. Now, what I will say about my own experience with sex and semen retention is if I have sex out of lust, I lose all the benefits. Because there is no sharing of energy during a lustful encounter, right? I want to have sex, I want to bust my nut, it goes into the other person, but they don't actually care about me back. So they're not giving me any of their energy in return. It's just like a brief moment in time, and then it dissipates after. You get a little bit of dopamine, maybe a little oxytocin, and that's about it. Nothing else happens. But if you're with someone that you genuinely care about, which if you're a guy, if you genuinely care about this girl, then yeah, make her your girlfriend, because commitment is when you get the most oxytocin spike, by the way. So it'll make you fall in love. And then when you're in a loving state, it's like, Jesus said in the Bible, be fruitful and multiply. That's what they want. That's what he wants. He doesn't want you to be celibate your entire fucking life. No, he wants you to be with one person and be fruitful and multiply. Sleep with that person. Share your energy with that person. That person shares it with you, because two heads are better than one. And through the two people being together, you can multiply all of that prior spoken about motivation, the desires, the discipline towards your purpose, towards your passion, towards your dreams. Now you have a partner in crime. Well, not in crime. Don't do bad shit, guys. Don't be bad. That you can work together with on your path forward. All right? So semen retention is a great tool for yourself if you're single and to really start on your grind towards your dreams. It's a great tool to essentially increase your bodily energy, your thought energy, your spiritual energy, and then you can channel that into your dreams, into your purpose, into your passion. All right? That's what's beautiful about it. It's a great way to transmute all that lustful sexual energy that you get from the sacral chakra down below, which is either used for sexuality or it's used for fluidity and creativity. All right? So lust kills that creative flow through seminal outflow. If you keep your seminal fluids, your creativity will skyrocket. And that's the main reason that I like doing it. I notice I'm a better person. I'm more creative. I'm more powerful. I'm able to stand up against the dark and the bullies because I'm confident within myself, because I've built up an amazing frame due to the willpower I've had to have to conquer something 99% of people don't even see as a fucking issue. All right? So let me know your guys' own experience. Let me know in the chat. I'd really love to help all you guys out. If anyone's struggling with this, just write your story. It's a safe space. Trust me, guys. I put literally everything I do on fucking camera so you can watch it. All right? So just if you're struggling with this, write in the comments. I'll help you out. I'll give you some tips and tricks, things you can do to sort of start fighting against this demon. Because that's what lust is. It's a fucking demon. We don't need lust. What we need is love. We need everyone to love everybody, and the world would be a much better place. All right? Love you guys. See you in the next one.